How's it going, everyone? What you're going to see today is, I think it's a 21-3 or so sniping round, so it's almost pretty damn similar to the first round of sniping that I posted. And of course, this is on PC, and this probably won't be the introduction anymore because that's what I play on now is PC. I'll never be the type that'll ever bash console now that I'm on PC, even though I've absolutely loving everything about the new PC, because I've been playing on consoles my whole life and I've had lots of fun on them too. But the thing is, my live runs out sometime in August, and there's no point in me renewing it considering I spent so much money on this PC, and it's so much fun playing on PC. I've actually missed playing from when I used to play on the original games a long time ago that I won't be using Xbox anymore. So that when that account dies, it'll just go away. My brother's probably going to get my PVR though, so maybe he'll make a channel or something, I don't know. Anyway, this is a 21-3 round on PC. So for the most part, I found that some lobbies, I think it basically applies the same to where a lot of the console rounds would. That either a lobby is really stacked for one team, like in this case, I was on the stacked team here, even though I lead the team. It's full of Colonel Hundreds. Some of them got switched toward the end, but it's either a stack lobby and you happen to get lucky and be on it. And I noticed for some reason a weird trend is that it usually stacks toward defense if you're playing rush mode. The defenders seem to get all the stack teams, at least in my experiences early on. Once in a while an attacking team will get a lot of the high-powered teams, and the defense is loaded with under colonels, and then they just get crushed in under 5 minutes. But at least in the rounds that I've been playing the last few days, because I had been out all weekend, I didn't even get a chance to play much at all. Playing a bit yesterday, we were loaded on defense. And a team, when you're loaded on defense like this, and they don't even want to leave their spawn or their 90% recon, they make my day. Because that means me as a sniper gets to go to town. And that's basically what I did here. I picked up quite a few good recon highlight style videos as well, so if you're a fan of those, I'll put them up. If you're a fan of montages, because I've had a couple of requests already for one, well, I'll have to play for a bit still. But I will make one when I have enough highlights and when I feel they've added up. But I've had a lot of good triple and multi-kills already, just because you just take the same flanking routes that you would on Xbox or on console, but you might have to mow down 2 or 3 guys that are actually controlling the perimeter first before you have access to that massive back rage. But it's for the most part, I've noticed it's not a ton different. It's just basically mastering the controls and finding a decent sensitivity, and well, you're off to the races as usual. With this particular sniping round here, I'm using, of course, the M98B and the 8x scope. The reason I don't use the 12 is because, well, I wanted to try out the 8 just to see if there was a difference. Basically, when I was using the mouse for more precise control, see if there actually was a significant difference. And to me, there is. It's harder to gauge the smaller finite movements when, like, say you want to aim slightly above his head versus directly at his head. It's much more difficult to get that little accurate precision down. It takes a bit of time to get it perfect. But on the 12, it's a quick snap of the mouse and you're right on his head. The only problem is, of course, it takes longer to scope in. And a lot of these guys on PC sniping, if they've got the scope in on you, they've already been focused on you for probably a second or two. And a lot of these guys are really good, especially sniping. I've noticed that you have to play behind cover at all times, and you have to be aware of all of the potential hot spots, or you will get sniped quite a bit. This particular round did pretty good. I have a couple of more rounds of infantry highlight style matches too, with like the AN94, the M16A3. I could post those as well, because I've noticed it was hard for me to get good ones on Xbox. Well, good ones that were entertaining, that were like 10 minutes or so long, because the problem was a lot of the time you just wouldn't have people to fight. You'd mow through 2 or 3 people, and then it would be a minute or two before you get close to 2 or 3 people to shoot at again. And that's why I didn't post a lot of infantry highlight style matches for console. On PC though, because there's just so many different people and the quick respawns and everything of the sort, you don't have that problem here. It's continuously over and over. Right after you kill a guy, he's either revived or he's already coming right back down the hill on the quick revive again. So you're constantly firing. But obviously, because of that, that's a big problem when you're in matches like 48 or 64 man Operation Metro, where it's continual suppression from bullets and explosions. It's incredible for that. Sniping, though, hasn't changed much. Actually, I feel I'm far more accurate, believe it or not, despite the fact that I've only been playing, you know, on a good PC for a day. Like, this is... I played, I think, 3 rounds before I got this. The second round, I actually might post as highlights because it wasn't as good. I only got like 14 kills in the round, but I might put that as an infantry highlight thing because the highlights were pretty decent, but I wouldn't want to post it on its own. But sniping on itself, like I was saying, I had 2 or 3 of those matches in maybe 3-4 hours worth of play, and this is about 3-4 hours. To get to this point here, an accurate assessment, I'd say, from when I was playing on console, took me months. Because I had to get used to the sensitivity, I had to get used to the scopes, I had to get used... And part of that was, obviously, yes, learning all the intricacies of Battlefield 3, which I already knew when I transitioned to PC, so that obviously was a big factor. But that being said, I didn't have the control down, I didn't know exact sensitivities, exact adjustments, and that sort when I was playing on the console. Now that I do, it's very easy to sniper on PC. I have a feeling in the next few months that I'm going to have to practice and gear up for Battlefield 4 that it will not be a very difficult transition at all. Playing on when using choppers, I've noticed I'm not as good when it comes to defensive maneuvers yet, like the quick twitch movements you're forced to make when you're suddenly locked on from an area you weren't expecting. I'm not as good as getting away at that yet, but that'll come versus on console. But the adjustment so far I think's been very smooth, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I highly recommend those that are on the fence to go to PC, and you don't even have to buy an expensive one like I did. Like, I've been saving up months for this. You don't have to. You can buy a lower end one, you just won't be able to run it on like 80 FPS on Ultra. You could probably stick to medium and still get a much better experience than you would regularly playing on the consoles. So that would be my recommendation if you're on the fence. If you've already made up your mind, again, that's fine. Absolutely nothing should sway you if you've made up your mind. If you feel the price and the logic to you makes sense, feel free to go nuts. I'll never bash any console gamer. I was one for years. I understand some people just don't like PCs. That's fine. But if it was me, I've just been completely soured with the Xbox. I'd absolutely go PS4 if I was going on the console, though. Like, there's just too many negatives toward consumer rights with the Xbox, even though they removed a lot of them. It's just the fact that they were there in the first place. No, taking them back to me has already, done enough damage. So go with the PS4 or go with PC. I've enjoyed the hell out of PC, and I can tell you for certain you probably will too once you get used to it. I had the interesting comment from one of my subscribers the other day too, asking me if it would be an easier transition from going to console to PC or from PC to console, and I personally don't think you can. I don't think you can give a definite answer to that, because each person has their own subjective strengths and weaknesses. Each person has their own experience level with both PC and console, and I think it's entirely subjective. I do believe that there will be a struggle whether or not you're going from PC to console or console to PC, because it's an adjustment. You will struggle. It took me a lot longer to get used to the controller coming from PC when I first started a while back, because you just don't have that exact precision you have with a mouse. But that being said, a lot of people I did know coming from PC or console to PC had a very easy adjustment. I'm finding it pretty easy so far. But on the other hand, like I was saying, going from PC to console is rough. But again, if you get used to, if you're pretty good, if you get pretty good at accuracy, figuring out the ebb and flow of the style the defenders like to play, then you're probably, like, I'll put it this way, I feel the average person on Xbox, or even PlayStation for that matter, is nowhere near as good as the average person on PC. The good players on PC and the good players on Xbox, I think, would match up pretty well together. But I just feel that, and that's no knock to console players at all, because I just think that it's much, much easier to aim with a mouse. So if you don't have a lot of experience or skill with a controller, you're going to be very, very average versus everyone else. That's just, I hope I explained that the right way I wanted it to, and I hope you understand the point I was getting. By no means am I bashing any player here. I'm just saying that the average person that, like, say you only pick up a controller a couple hours a week, you just won't be able to build that the motor skills and the skill level up to be great. Versus on a mouse, that if you pick it up, you could probably, especially since you're using a mouse all the time for going on Skype or, say, Firefox, Google Chrome, internet surfing of the sort, you are still gaining experience that way. Being able to regularly click that top right X or minimize, maximize with barely even the thought process of doing it is still building up skills with the mouse. So being able to transition quick to a PC game, plus with the precision it offers, it's a big difference. And like you wouldn't get that experience using a controller. That's basically what I'm saying. To sum up quick, basically, I personally believe the average player on Xbox isn't as good as the average player on PC. That's no knock on them. It's just that using a mouse is much easier. But I do feel it's entirely subjective. There's no such thing as one is easier than the other. Hope you enjoyed the sniping and this quick little ending bit here. This was pretty interesting too. I switched to, because the game auto-shifted and auto-balanced some of the better players over, and they were planting that MCOM. So it came down to the end, I was able to defuse it and hold them off. But it was much easier to do that with an assault rifle, otherwise we might have given it up. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.